legal aspects to consider when you are pivoting. So you are right now in the moment of the cusp of where am I going to go with my business? And you're either adding some other elements to your business where you're diversifying your product line or your services, or something else in your business you're diversifying. You're taking what you have and you're adapting to the changes, or you're just doing a full-on pivot, which is an actual shift in your business. So whatever you might be doing, I hope that you have now a plan of action. Now, whether it's just a plan of action or a business plan, but there needs to be something where you can see where you want to go, what your vision is, the steps that you need to take to achieve that vision, and also the evaluation assessment of what financially you need, what other trade-offs you might need to make, or expenses you might be having, or the impact that it might or may not make, and the marketing that you're going to need as well in your business. And then also maybe having some goalposts for yourself as well. So these are all certain elements that are in a business plan, but then of course a business plan dives much deeper into your plan of action as well. So hopefully that is already set up. And now another thing that we need to look into are the legal consequences and some things that you might be facing when you do pivot, or when you do diversify, or when you're completely, taking a part of your business out and eliminating it, or, sunsetting it, or however you want to call it. And so some of the things to consider is that after you have your plan of action is now, what are the steps that you're taking? Are you buying a new business, or are you creating a new business? So if you're purchasing an existing business, then you want to consider doing a very good due diligence on that business. And what I mean by that is a lot of times it's the health of that business. Why is the person selling it? What is the reputation of the business? What is the rapport that that business has in its community and with its business affiliations and other companies? And how is the goodwill? A lot of these things are important, because sometimes the company might look great on the financials, but there has been a big impact and negative impact on their relationship with other businesses that they have, or the collaborations that they make. And so doing a due diligence on an existing business is very important. Because say you are a company that provides, you are reselling something, and you have all these other goods that you buy from wholesalers, but now the company that you're purchasing from, or the different companies that you might be purchasing from, now their relationship with the company that you're wanting to purchase is not good. And so where are you going to get that purchasing power from? Where are you going to find the ability to buy the goods that you need to sell? So all of these matter. And so when you are purchasing a business, have that in the back of your mind. Is also the due diligence is not just the financials, it's also the goodwill of the company and how the company is with its other business affiliations. Now, if you're creating a whole nother business, you're creating a whole nother aspect to your business, or another line, another brand, another company, and that's all fine. And so when you're doing that, the first thing you need to ask is, what kind of an entity is this? Does this business entity fall under my existing businesses? Like, is it under an umbrella with my existing businesses? Or am I creating a whole nother business? And do I need to create an LLC for it? Do I need to file a corporation for it? Or is it just a sole proprietorship and I do nothing? So these are certain questions that you want to ask, and make sure that you are properly allocating this new division, new diversification, new brand, new company, whatever you're creating that's new, in the right spot. So it can definitely go under an existing business if that's what you choose, but it can also be a brand new business as well, and a brand new line and a brand new brand, and have its own separate entity as well. And so these are some considerations best to have, because you don't want to be putting it under another company, but it doesn't make sense. And then what might happen is that you're sharing the assets and the liabilities of another company when you shouldn't be doing that, and they should be two separate entities. So you want to consider what kind of entity formation you're going to be having, if any at all, and start from that first point, please. And then once you're done with that, go to the second point. If you are eliminating a part of your business, and at that point, if you are eliminating a part of your business, you have to consider the contracts that are existing in that business right now. What are your obligations, outstanding obligations, contractual obligations, financial obligations? How can you either A, terminate them, or B, go through with them, finish it off, close the book on those relationships, and then finally terminate and cancel that part of your business. And so you don't want to have anything outstanding, because it can just lead to other issues and litigation and somebody suing you, especially if it's a breach of contract. So if you are having to cancel or terminate a contract, then you want to follow the steps that are in the contract to be able to cancel or terminate. Or you just finish it off, follow through with it until the effective date is finished or until your obligations are finished under the contract. And also, if you have any financial obligations, you want to make sure that you have satisfied them. And if you haven't, then have a plan of action on how you will or how you can get out of it. Because the last thing you need is somebody suing you for any outstanding anything. So take that into consideration as part 2. Now, number 3 is that, you've already figured out the new entity that you're making, or whether it's just going to fall under an existing entity. Then you have to look at your existing contracts. And if you are starting something new, or whether you are diversifying a brand, or whether you're adding more to your services or to your product line, how does that affect your contracts? How does that affect your contracts with your clients? How does that affect your contracts with any manufacturers or distributors or any other B2B businesses, relationships that you might have? And so consider, what are some of the impacts that it could have on existing contracts. And that might require you to sit, review your contract, talk to a lawyer, and ask them, hey, this is my plan of action. How is it going to affect these contracts? And then, kind of work out a roadmap on how to figure out how to navigate yourself with the new add-ons, the new additions, and then the existing clients or B2B relationships that you might have. Because what happens is that those contracts don't necessarily cover the new aspects to your business, whatever new that you're adding. And so they just may not cover it. And so you want to make sure that whatever you have will cover it, or if you need to revise the contract, modify the contract, amend the contract, or just have a brand new contract itself, you have it. And you've already made that step towards figuring it out, because that's the number one thing. Is kind of forging forward is fine, but if you don't have a solid foundation on figuring out, then you're going to end up falling into a ditch somewhere, and you don't want to do that. You want to avoid that legal ditch because it's terrible. And so the best way to avoid it is to look at your contracts, review them, see if you need to make any changes, and see how they need to adapt to the new vision, the new things that you're adding to your business. Now, while you're looking at these contracts, simultaneously, you might be also creating new business relationships, whether it's with new clients or, if it's a whole nother company, you might be able to use your existing contracts and put them into the new company, but some of the services might change, or some of the the terms might change, or the way your expectations might change. So all of those things need to be considered with the new business relationships that you might be having. And new business relationships is not just client relationships. They could be B2B relationships. So it could be a new manufacturer, it could be a new distributor, it could be other third parties that you're hiring, independent contractors that you're hiring to do your, to do your IT, or to create a website, or social media management, or, something like that. So, look at all of these different aspects along with clients, new type of clients that you might be getting. And then also, are you hiring anybody? Are you hiring any independent contractors or employees? So these are all the different types of contracts that might be needed if you don't already have it and you don't need to tweak them, you might need new ones. And so these are some of the contracts to be thinking about. A general service agreement also is kind of like, it's just a general service agreement, and it kind of is an umbrella agreement for whichever company you're hiring to give you certain services. And then each time they come in, there's like another mini agreement defining that particular work that they're doing for you at that time. And so, all different types of contracts that you could be using, licensing agreements. You may need to reassess them or just have new ones if your business is now going to be creating and you're going to be giving licensing rights in it. And also, another thing to consider is insurance. Insurance is not necessarily legal, but it can become legal. And so it's important to have it, especially if you have a lot of indemnification clauses in your contracts. You should have some type of insurance to protect you and to kind of build that indemnification that you have within your company, and also to provide a catch-all just in case if something does happen. So insurance is very important. And if you are changing your business, you want to, one, see the current insurance if it covers those changes, or you would have to pay more to get extra coverage, or you just need to get a whole brand new insurance or something like that, where you need to kind of make that insurance now adaptable to whatever you're doing. So look at the insurance that you have and see what changes you might need to make, or if you need to get another one. And now another thing to consider is the trademark and copyright. So if you are already, say you are a brand, and now you are adding another line to your brand. So it's like a mini brand within the brand. And you've already trademarked all these other mini brands that you might have. You might want to think about trademarking this one too. That way you've already done it before it comes out. It's already going to be yours with common law. But when you have that extra statutory protection, it just kind of adds a lot more weight to that protection. And so if you already have it from the get-go, you are golden. But then again, I only encourage you to get a trademark if you are truly committed to that brand, truly committed to the name, and truly committed to actually following through with whatever you're doing. Because otherwise it could be a waste of money and time and effort. And so, not to dissuade you, because you definitely should be moving forward with it if it's something that you have like a full plan of action, and hopefully you do. And so consider getting a trademark at that time and filing for a trademark at that time. Again, the same thing with copyright filing. If you are creating new e-courses for your business now, and you're trying to start something totally different, but it is, again, diversifying within your business, or it could be a pivot in your business, but say you're creating e-courses, you want to register the copyright on that before you put it out into public, if you can. Because what happens is that, again, you get extra statutory protection, which has so much more weight to your copyright rights. So those are some considerations to take in when you are starting a new business, or when you're pivoting, or when you're diversifying.